Hi, in today's episode, I have invited Maria from 360prosperity.com onto my podcast to talk about how our limiting mindset towards money, self-doubt, and wrong choice of word can cause us problem and pain in life, and what we can do to achieve our breakthrough in health, wealth, love, and relationship. Please note, due to technical issue, I have split this podcast into 4 parts, mainly because during the podcast interview with Maria, my Zoom call software keep playing up and I've lost my audio feed on 4 separate occasions during the podcast. So today's podcast may be a little bit disjointed. Hi, and welcome to Transforming Trading for Beginners podcast. Today, I'm very pleased to have Maria Martinez from 360prosperity.com on my podcast. Maria is a wealth consciousness and human potential activator. Hi, Maria. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. So excited to be here.
Thank you for coming to my podcast. Can you please tell me something about yourself, please?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I love talking about money. I love talking about wealth. It feels something that is so natural to us. It's an energy that's already within us. And however you choose to express it, whether it's through investing in stocks or trading or in real estate or other ventures, money is energy, and you can work with it so that it works with you, and you can create an amazing wealth legacy.
That's good. That's good. I also checked through your websites with fantastic, full of articles and stuff. So you're a very busy person.
Thank you.
Very thoughtful and lots of very interesting information. Anyway, because I personally do a lot of trading. And I like to find out a bit more like how people come to you and try to find out how they can, improve their lives through not just wealth, but also like, overall the mental state and how we can achieve breakthrough in life if they get stuck. What do you normally do to help those kind of people?
Yeah, so it really depends. It really depends on what they're trying to achieve. I do have a lot of people coming to me for abundance. And what they're really trying to do is they're trying to create for themselves a flow so that when they attract it or when they earn it, when their money shows up in their lives, that they can hold on to it and then build it. And again, how they do that, it's in many different ways. So the way I work with them is that I look at the energy of money in relationship to the person. So I look at their field, and I look at individually, I look at money, wealth, abundance, and prosperity. To some people, it's the same thing. To others, it's very different. So when I look at them and money, I can see their relationship with money. And that usually shows up in their environment, in their 3D. So if some people feel like money is hard to get, a lot of times it shows dragging behind them. It shows up like a big, heavy rock that they're trying to carry. If money comes in and bounces out of their field, it's like money is elusive. Money comes in, but then they lose it, or there's an emergency and it goes out and never really stays. Or if it shows up like water, where you hold it and it just goes through your fingers. So it just shows me how their belief systems have created this manifestation of money. And then that shows up in the reality by not being there, by money always going out and being diverted somewhere else, by money not staying, by coming in cycles. So it's just really interesting how that works. And I do the same thing with wealth and abundance and prosperity, how they're relating to it. And I look for the belief system that created that relationship. And then we try to uncreate. We uncreate it. And we reset that experience to one that is very loving. We reset that experience because everything is energy. So when they understand that money is energy and your energy, then you can relate to it differently. You can make it anything else. You can attach love and light and truth and passion and purpose and wealth and prosperity and peace and fun and giving. So you can make it something else.
Part 2. Continue on that. What would you say is very interesting, because throughout my trading journeys, when I first started, I never look into the mindset of how money is actually sit within myself, my mind, and how I translate money into my life, so to speak. And I find it relatively, a lot of times I self-sabotage myself and not following rules and not following plans, and take me a long time to actually work that out through myself. And I read many books and stuff, but I found it more interesting. Once I got more experience of how I look at money myself and how I translate it in my other parts of my life, and it really is an eye opener. And I'm just wondering, let's say, a person come to you have some sort of blockage in the what you call the wealth building life. They keep on sabotage themselves. How do you find that and help them to stop sabotaging themselves?
So there's a couple ways that would do that. And actually it's very much customized to the person. So basically what I do is I look at their field and I look at, I can see, I can hear, and I can feel. So I tune into the person and the energy of the person and see why they're sabotaging themselves. Sometimes it's unworthiness, sometimes it's undeservingness, sometimes they feel that they have other belief systems of money and they're fear driven. So when you have these belief systems, you're not really in alignment with yourself. You're not really in alignment with abundance. You're not really in alignment with having, receiving, allowing, or success. So we find those belief systems that are there, and then I energetically clear them. And then I find, and I look at if they're connected to experiences in this lifetime, because sometimes there are patterns that we see, and we go back and we look at those patterns and we look at what played out in those patterns. There's so many parts of us that come out in situations. So I look at who really made that decision. Was it you, the one that is present and conscious and connected to the higher self? Or was it a part of you that was afraid, a part of you that felt victimized, a part of you that felt overwhelmed, a part of you that felt defensive and just thought you would fail and just wanted to protect you? Because the ego will show up and all it wants to do is keep you safe. And if it feels that by taking action or making this decision, you're going to be embarrassed or you're going to fail and then be humiliated, it's going to try and keep you safe. And the way it does that is by keeping you where you are. So therefore it sabotages any forward movement. The victim part of us will come up and feel like, oh, they're taking advantage of me. They didn't give me all the information. I wouldn't have made the decision, or I wouldn't have made this investment if I would have had all the answers. So it feels victimized. It feels like something was taken from that part of us. So it will also sabotage you from moving forward. It will start shutting down. It will not participate or cooperate. It will avoid making decisions and stuff like that. And then we have the inner child. If the inner child comes from when we were growing up and we experienced our parents dealing with money. So the inner child will look to that part of us that experienced our parents handling money. And if our parents were in lack and scarcity and fear, that part of us will come out when it's dealing with money, and it would deal with it in the same way or very similar way. And if that inner child feels overwhelmed, it'll go into, I don't know how to handle money. I don't know what to do with money. I don't know. This is too much for me. What if I lose it? What if I know how to invest it? What if I make the wrong? What if? And then it will sabotage you because it doesn't want to make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't want to. It doesn't want to move forward.
So when you bring up this inner child thing, it's really interesting because when we grow up, we take a lot of parents, probably yourself as well, and our children pick up a lot of things from us,
right?
And we learn all our view on money, health, relationship, whatever, from our parents, and that play a lot during our adult life, and then it's like it takes quite a bit of struggle to try to learn to unlearn things, so to speak.
Right.
Try to relearn the right attitude, and then slowly move forward. And it's I'm still learning. I still like taking time to do things, that kind of stuff. And one of the other difficulties I also face myself is I have some reason, I don't know why, I just really don't like to write things down. I just like to try, just like the action. but I don't like to sit down and write things out for like 10 minutes. So I force myself to just do like, 1 minute, just write something down, walk away, come back later on and continue. I just try to break it down to little small bits, but just like really find big struggle just sitting down like 10 minutes. It can't that long. And I have to just break them down until I get into the mood doing things. So it's quite fun. Do you see those kind of things in your clients?
In terms of like habits that or would be healthy habits for him to do, and there's resistance. Yeah, and actually, they vary across the board. We all have things that we prefer and things that we don't prefer, and sometimes we make up a story about it, and whatever story we make up about it just becomes either it becomes an identity or becomes so amplified that actually becomes a thing when it doesn't have to be a thing. And so what I say to my clients is that just don't give yourself any room to fail, because if you always have a way out, then you're always going to have that way out and you're never going to be 100% in. When you're 100% in, you're not making up any stories. You're not feeling, I don't want to do that. You're just like, I pick up the phone. This is what I do, right? Because the story feels like, if I pick up the phone, then they're going to say no, or what if they say no, or what if this, what if that? And it's just a story that we're creating. Yeah. So if we stop making up stories, we're going to create more progress forward. We're not going to have aversions. We're not going to resist doing things that we know are in the highest good. And then, of course, we get to the higher place of self-love, and we love ourselves so much, and we move into the place of worthiness that we're willing to do whatever it takes, including writing down, right? Including writing down what that is. So when you move into that place that is complete, like you're complete unwavering, you're completely uncompromised, you're so congruent that you love yourself so much, and that you're on your divine path, your divine mission, that there is no other way. Procrastination is a thing of the past. Avoiding is a thing of the past. I do it because it feels right. I do it because it's the next step. I do it because it's going to get me closer to what I desire. Taking notes, journaling, doing my meditation, doing my practice that is going to help me amplify who I am and attract more of what I desire. So again, it's the practice of shifting them from where they are to that place of complete alignment, complete self-commitment. And when they're there, they're not making excuses. They're not allowing little things to get in the way.
Yeah. I found ownership very important. So I found, like you said, for whatever your self-belief, if you don't believe into it, you sabotage yourself. And I found that this is definitely one of the things I have to work on, and I'm still working on it. And it's like, why I'm keep on doing this same thing and again, banging my head in the water. Yeah. It's very, very interesting how think of your inner self, affect how you do relationship, your health, your money, everything. Absolutely. Yes. And you said something really important. It's the ownership, right? And taking ownership of your life and taking full responsibility, because parts of us don't want to take that responsibility. The victim wants to blame somebody else. The ego also wants to blame somebody else. The inner child doesn't want to do it, wants somebody else to do it for them because they don't know what to do. So when we really step into full responsibility and we really take charge and we really accept and own our life gets easier, because we're not doing this spinning that we do, this avoidance that we do, this aversion that we do, this procrastination. We don't distract ourselves from what's in front of us. We don't distract ourselves from what is important for our dreams and our goals and everything that we're creating in our vision to create our wealth legacy. We just do it because it's so in alignment with us. And also we move away from somebody else doing it for us. Somebody else is going to fix it for us. Somebody else is going to help me do this. No. That is already within you. You have to connect to your divine inheritance, abundance, wealth, prosperity, already within you. And you get to tap into that and you get to bring that out. And you can do that when you take full responsibility.
when you take responsibility of everything that's happened in your life, including whatever you consider as bad business investments, failures, whatever that is. Yes, I created that out of fear, out of doubt, out of not knowing. I did the best I could, and I forgive myself for it. Now I'm doing it differently. Now I'm doing it from a place of complete alignment and congruency, from full responsibility and ownership. So when you do that, success just comes to you. Abundance just comes to you, because you're not doing it from fear and doubt and insecurity.
Yeah, this is very powerful, very wonderful advice, kind of thing. And I still have many steps to follow and then work on it. And also, you mentioned just now about meditation. I mean, how does that help? Focus and stopping.
Yeah, it helps you in many different ways, and there's different type of meditations out there. So the meditations that I do are one of them is mindfulness, and the other one is guided. So I do a lot of guided meditation, and through the meditation I do clearing. So when you find your place, or when you find a place of calm within you, and you drop into your heart space, you're no longer in the story in your mind. So your whole body kind of drops to a new level, a calm, sort of balanced, harmonious level. And when you're there, you're clear. You can make better decisions. Your body has more energy. You feel more inspired. You feel happier. So therefore you take, you follow your intuition, or you follow your guidance, or you do what you're supposed to do, because you're coming from a different place. You're coming from a place of joy and happiness versus overwhelm and frustration and not enough, or even from lack or scarcity, or from desperation. You're coming from a place of peace, joy, abundance. Like everything's already good with you, instead of trying to make it good, instead of trying to make things good for you. You're already there. And then from there, you just, it's just going to get better from there.
Mm-hmm. It's so strange sometimes, because I'm Chinese from Hong Kong, and feel a bit, what you're saying, a bit like Buddhism kind of thing. That's sort of like religions help you. The religious belief that help you to meditate or calm yourself better, or something. That's religion.
Well, I'm more spiritual than religious. So, but I think that, there's certain things in different religions that allow you to connect to yourself, whether it's prayer, whether it's mantras or chanting, that help you connect with that inner light. And really that's what I'm describing, is connecting to the inner light within you that already knows that it's already infinite, already abundant, already successful, already joyful, already happy. And that's why it's within you. So if whatever practice you have, whether it's meditation, whether it's mantras, whether it's chanting, whether it's prayer, that you can do that gets you to that place. And you can connect with that part of you, and you can really honor yourself in that place, then that's a beautiful place to be, and that's a beautiful place to create from, to make decisions from. Yeah, that's good. Also, you just touched on about the way you speak about yourself, instead of saying I want the universe give you what you want, because you can't say you want to be rich or happy or healthy. You don't say I am happy, I am wealthy, that kind of thing. So it's quite a very different mindset. How do you shift from I want hoping to actually I am? How do you do that? Well, it's interesting, because some people don't know what you're saying, and the words have power. They have power, and you're creating with your words. You're declaring it, and then you're creating it. And sometimes we don't know, because that's how we speak. That's what we've been taught to speak. That's what our environment is. But when you really start learning about the power of your words and your intention behind the words, then you're now consciously choosing different words. And when you describe the words that you describe, have or want or need, those are very disempowering words, because they're like, it's not within me, it's that when I reach, I feel powerless, I can't get it. But if you speak of I am, or I already have, then you're really in that knowing, because now you're talking to that part of you that is the light within you, which I mentioned earlier, is you're already infinite, you're already abundant, all of that is already within you. You're learning to remove all these layers and all these filters that are on top of that, that through this lifetime and other lifetimes you've accumulated. But now that you're in your awakening and your awareness, now that you're stepping into more and accessing more of yourself, you're removing this layer and that layer that no longer serves you, and then you're accessing your truth, your true authentic self, which is the beautiful light within, that is already infinite, powerful beyond measure, that is already abundant, because we were all created that way. We came with, and we have our divine inheritance. And we don't have to go out there and prove that we can have it or deserve it. It's already within us.
Yeah.
What's blocking it is believing that it's not there, believing that somebody else gives us our value, that it's up to somebody else to decide what we can have or what we deserve. That's what's blocking it, because we bought into the belief systems outside about our value and our self-worth. But if we tune into everything I need is within me, and I am abundance personified, then you start to bring that part of you out, and you live in your I am presence.
Yeah, that's very, very good. It's very good advice. Nowadays, what I found myself, my children include, always on Twitter or Instagram and things like that. And it's always putting, like my daughter, before she eats, she would take a picture of it on Facebook, Instagram, and share with everybody else. I know it's just like good to share, but it's like she's looking for affirmation from other people. Say, oh, wow, how wonderful is it? And this is not just children. I mean, even adults will do that. Put it a lot on, social media or hoping sort of confirmation, validation from other people. And
Right.
it's not from within, it's from outside.
Right.
And it's just I got a problem with the society. Everybody is doing and it's very difficult to break it.
Yeah, and individually we're doing it on our own. We're breaking away from the norm. We're breaking away from the collective and mass consciousness. We're deciding, we're choosing for ourselves. We're creating our own belief systems based on our alignment and our higher power and the light within. And we're choosing that we already are. We're choosing that we don't need significance or validations or approval, or that we don't need to be accepted by others, that we don't need to prove anything to anyone, including to ourselves, the mind, that we are already divinely perfect. And if we're already divinely perfect, then everything's already available to us as well. There's nothing to change in order to fit in. There's nothing to morph into in order to be accepted. We already are. And when you really live in that energy of I am, and everything is divinely perfect, and I am divinely perfect, and you treat, you make decisions that way. Yeah. So for instance, when you're making a trade, if you tune in to the trade and just look at which one feels like, which one is more successful, which one feels like it's going to be more beneficial to me, you feel the pull of the energy of that trade that you're making. Show me which one is going to be the most more of a blessing to me in the long term, or show me. So if you, depending how you ask your questions, but you're asking what is in my highest good. When you're making your trades, which one of these is in my highest good? And then you allow yourself to feel into the energy of all of those, then you feel which one you're in alignment with. So now you're making decisions from that place of knowing, instead of, oh, I don't know, like maybe this one's good.
Yeah. That was definitely a big issue.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Yeah, kind of things. And the other thing, I just wondering, do you do like affirmation before you go to sleep, or when you wake up first thing in the morning? Does that I go through on YouTube? Does that really help you to set your mind for a better day?
Yeah, I don't do a whole lot of affirmation for myself, but I do recommend them. So what I do for myself is I actually focus on my vision, and I do recommend you to focus on your vision. So when I'm going to sleep, and it is sort of like an affirmation because you're declaring it, you're affirming it, you're living into it. So before I go to sleep, I see the vision that I'm working on right now, whether it's in my career, whether it's in my relationship, whether it's, whatever that is. And I see it, and then I see myself in it, and I feel the joy of having it now. And then I feel the gratitude within me, and then my alignment, my connection with Source, and how I feel for being in this beautiful divine partnership with God, Source, Universe, and for bringing it to me already. And then I just release it and let it go. And then in the morning, that I'll tune into that again. So it's not per se an affirmation, but it is sort of like overall vision of what I'm creating. and I just see myself in it. I see myself in the joy of it, and I see it now, and I celebrate it now. And when throughout the day, if I'm manifesting, I do more of the affirmations. So I'll do, so if I'm manifesting something different, like something more like money or an opportunity, I will write out maybe in the morning whenever I get sort of like guided to do it. So sometimes it may be in the morning, sometimes it may be in between my sessions, just, to tune into that, because it just feels like the energy is coming in for me at that moment and saying, this is the perfect moment for you to tune into this. And then I'll write my affirmations. I am this, I am that, or what would it take for this to show up in my life, to be, what would it take for me to attract this, to allow this, to receive this, to celebrate this. So I just say it in different ways, but it's all like, and none of it is I need or I want or I have to. It's all allow, attract, receive, be open to, and then I say what that is. And I say it again throughout the day, so it's not really specific to the morning or the evening.
Part 4.
Yeah, just now you're talking about the affirmation kind of thing. Do you think like a vision board kind of thing will help to like build self belief or what we want in life, that kind of thing? Vision board.
Oh, a vision. Vision board. Oh, absolutely. Because the vision board will help you keep focus, and also what it does is that when you have a thought and you can hold that thought in your hand, then it becomes your reality. So having a vision board is like, that image being imprinted into your mind and being able to hold the image of that. And your mind doesn't really know any different. It's whatever you're giving it. That's why it takes on these belief systems and makes them true. So whatever image you give it, it makes it true. It makes it real. So once you have a vision and you are spending your time in gratitude and joy and visualizing yourself in celebration and having it, it becomes very real to you and to your mind. So now it becomes part of you, and then it's just a matter of time before it shows up in your reality. So vision board is very helpful. And what's also really important is the feeling attached to the vision, the celebration, the emotions, the joy of having it now. And really amplifying that by if not this, something like something better. So this or something better. This or something better.
Yeah. So let's say you, for example, you put a vision board, say I want this car or whatever, and you later on, after a year maybe or so, you achieved it. Do you change a different object we put on vision board, or just leave it there to continue look at what you have?
Well,
take it off.
Well, you create a new vision board. You actually want to sort of create one, whether it's every 6 months or every year, depending on how often you're setting up your goals. And a vision board, it's really when you're trying to create something in the next 6 months, in the next year, and then you want to create something else. Maybe you take some of those items that were there and you use them for the next vision because you're still working on them. But maybe you add something new. Maybe it's not that car, maybe it's something else. So if you're using the same vision board, if you still want to work in the same thing, sometimes it helps to do it over again because you're creating sort of new energy around it. There's a part of us, the mind, that it feels, if it gets disappointed for not creating something, and it gets into judgment, and it gets into self-sabotage, into self-punishment, it'll see it, but it will look away or have distractions because it doesn't want to fail. Like it'll say, I didn't achieve it the first time, so what's to say that I'm going to achieve it again? It's just a pretty picture now. So sometimes it's good to start over because you're adding like new energy. You're sort of refreshing that energy.
Yeah.
That way you're not focused on what the mind already decided it couldn't have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Thanks for that advice. But you also mentioned about gratitude. Be thankful what you already have, that kind of thing. Can you explain a bit more about that, how that works in our life?
Yeah. So, so there's gratitude for what you have, but it's also gratitude for you. So most people do gratitude for what you have, the car, the house, the family, the kids, all those things. And you want to do that, but you want to go a step further. You want to be grateful for you, because we always leave ourselves out. We're always last.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're grateful for being committed to yourself. You're grateful for being in alignment with your mission. You're grateful for being on this path of greatness. You're grateful for knowing yourself. You're grateful for knowing the light within. You're grateful for having this great relationship with yourself, that you can have these conversations with yourself about what's next, what's coming up, what's next for you, and that you can do it without judgment, and you can do it without attachment, without without criticism, that you can do it with love and compassion. So you want to also be grateful for your relationship with you, because really everything starts with you. You create from you in your alignment. So you want to honor yourself. You want to honor yourself for being choosing this life, for choosing what you're up to, for giving to everybody else, but also giving to yourself.
Yeah, that's very, very powerful advice. Thank you for that. And just one last question. If people would like to get in touch with you, learn a bit more about you, what should they do? How do they get in touch with you?
They can reach me through my website, 360prosperity.com, 360prosperity.com. They can also email me at maria@acceleratedabundance.com, EXCELLERATED, abundance.com. They can also come to my website and set up a discovery session. Some people kind of want to know, like, what, I don't know what my deal is. Can you tell me? And I do, basically I do a reading for them, and I tell them, like, this is what I see. These are the blocks that are keeping you from creating wealth, creating abundance, that are blocking you from having success. And then I share how we can work and remove those.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Very, very good. And thank you very much, Maria, for your time and energy and your lovely advice today. And thank you for your patience. And I hope to get another podcast with you sometime in the future, because your advice I find is really useful for all traders, as well as just in life in general.
Thank you. No, it was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. And I look forward to talking to you very soon. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you very much. And see you later. Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay.